Welcome back. Energy Minister Jeff Radebe says a successful energy efficiency program will not only result in job creation but will also help increase municipal revenue. Radebe was addressing renewable energy companies and IPPs on their roles going forward. eNCA's Govan Whittles was at that briefing this morning, and he joins us now live. Govan, of course, one of the big issues that have been making headlines just over the past few days is this supposed $1 billion South Sudan oil refinery project. The minister apparently signing this agreement with the Sudanese government last year without any treasury approval. What did he have to say about that?
Indeed, so this is the Renewable Energy and IPP conference, but Jeff Radebe certainly having tough questions to answer on the South Sudan deal, and particularly that 20 million rand feasibility study that was conducted without any approval from the Treasury or from the Cabinet. Of course, Jeff Radebe in the newspaper report by the Sunday Times saying he didn't need that approval, but he has been accused of trying to secretly push through this deal, which is estimated to be worth about 14 billion rand. We did get a chance to question the minister on that, but he simply refused to give a comment in that regard. He would only speak about the IPPs and the renewable energy projects. So it seems as if we'll have to press a little bit harder before we get answers regarding the South Sudan oil deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about the issue of independent power producers and renewable energy. It's being touted as possibly one of the answers to the energy crisis we find ourselves in, but a lot of criticism coming out saying that it's actually a lot more expensive than getting electricity through coal.
Indeed. So Jeff Radebe says that the price of renewable energy has dropped significantly, and he expects the latest round of bidding by the independent power producers to present a price that is just below 1 rand per kilowatt. Of course, when the first round of bidding was done, IPPs were quoting Eskom at around 2 rand per kilowatt. Of course, the price of coal per kilowatt is around between 50 cents and 80 cents. But Jeff Radebe is saying that because of the development in technology, he believes that the price of electricity from the IPPs could end up being a lot cheaper. Whether or not they're cheap, he says IPPs will remain a part of South Africa's energy future. Of course, they're part of the energy mix, and once that integrated resource plan is finalized at NEDLAC and approved at Cabinet, then he says we should see a lot more private sector cooperation with the government entities regarding renewable energy. But of course, he had some scathing remarks to make about Eskom, saying that the company's current financial and credit position is dire, and he says that this is maybe a lot to do with the procurement that was done at Medupi and Kusile when the two power stations were built, but also just through the management of the state-run entity. Let's have a look at what exactly he said about Eskom and its financial position.
It is clear for all that Eskom alone cannot meet our power capacity requirements, because we estimate that the capacity extension under the IRP will cost in excess of 1 trillion rand in the period up to 2030, including the new power plants, plus the requisite transmission and distribution infrastructure.
So, Govan, just from the side of independent power producers and the various people representing that section of the power mix, what kind of questions and perhaps criticism did they pose to the minister, and just how long it's taken for IPPs to be a real part of the country's energy mix?
Well, it's all about the red tape, and remember that these IPPs have had to wait a number of years before the IPP agreements could have been signed by both the Energy Department and Eskom. Those agreements only signed in the last few months, but it's also about some of these IPPs that need the ministerial declaration for them to start producing power and selling it to Eskom that are currently caught up in the integrated resource plan. So once that plan is finalized, it would open the door for more of them to start producing energy and sell to Eskom. But at this stage, It's a case of this red tape and the development of the IPPs. The recent studies have shown that large-scale solar power is becoming more expensive, and some of the renewable companies are shifting towards wind and hydroelectricity, and so the development of those technologies was supposed to come online from the beginning of this year towards the end of last year, but that has been delayed somewhat because of this red tape, also because of the change in the cost of these technologies. But Jeff Radebe is saying today that he expects the IPPs to make a significant contribution towards Eskom and play a far greater role in the amount of energy or the energy split in South Africa. But of course, he says that would happen much quicker once this court challenge that's currently underway by NUMSA is also resolved, and the red tape regarding the IRP being approved by Cabinet and the ministerial declarations for some of them to be unlocked is also resolved. So those are the three main policy issues. Jeff Radebe acknowledging today that policy uncertainty and regulatory frameworks were not up to scratch when it comes to getting these renewable energies online, and he believes that he'll be able to speed up that process within the next few months.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure South Africans who have experienced load shedding over the past couple of weeks or so will be happy to hear it. Thanks very much for that update.